Well, hey, everybody. Getting ready to record Monday's podcast here in about 5 minutes. So get settled in and we'll get started here shortly. Just letting everybody jump in. So hop on in. Hello. So we'll be taking your calls in just a few minutes. This is going to be live listener questions tonight. We had a last minute cancellation, so we're going to try something different. Hello, up in New Hampshire, Jessica. This is Mike here in Missouri. Currently 87 degrees, I think. They say on the little doohickey behind me. Nine days for Grigsly Ann heading to Walt Disney World. I am at, let's see, I'm 39 days from the cruise, so I'm 37 days from Walt Disney World. So I'm going out 2 days early. I get to check in for the cruise tomorrow. Woo, woo. Got my email today that there's going to be 2 sets of fireworks on the podcast cruise. 4th of July and Pirate Night. Oh no, the Reds just scored. Oh, they scored twice. No. Oh, no, I scored once. Can you guys hear that music too? So get a good question ready. Only questions on the calls tonight, please. Only questions. We're going to try something different. Just questions on the calls. No trip reports, no commentary, questions. We're trying to do questions live. You guys can't hear the music. Oh, it's good. That way I'm not just bobbing my head to nothing. Okay. This is usually a trip report night, but my gentleman I was talking to had a last minute business meeting, which I understand. So here I am. Now I was going to get Scott, but Scott's playing golf. Imagine that. You can also ask questions in the comments. No, it's 2-0. You're at work. Pizza, even though I just had some sweet Mexican right before the show, so I can't complain. I'm not hungry. I'm stuffed. My wife said, "You want to get Mexican?" I said, "Yes. Let's do it before the podcast." I'll open up the phone lines in just a few minutes. Yes, Scott, you made it. Mallory has 2 half days left, and that is it. Half day tomorrow, half day Friday. Done. Pam doesn't get out till next week. She gets out next Friday. $55 pie order this morning. It must be into the school year out there too, maybe. I don't know. That's crazy. That's going to be me next week, next Wednesday. I currently have, I think, 67 quote requests, and I can't start on them until Wednesday. So that's me next week. I'm already losing sleep over next Wednesday. I just want to get started now. Oh my gosh, June 22nd. That's ridiculous. That's my wife's complaining because she has to go past Memorial Day. They never go past Memorial Day. 3 weeks. At least we're getting close, though. Hey, Susan. What's up? Remember, for the calls, listener questions tonight. Questions about trip planning. Because we are a trip planning podcast. I have some queued up, too, from the inbox. Yes, Susan, thank you. Were you the one who had the email about listening to only 2 shows? Somebody said they don't listen to 2 out of the 4 shows. I had a beef about that. Just kidding. Oh my gosh, it's my buddy Alan. Perfect. Run Disney marathoner out in Anaheim. I saw yesterday as I was watching the Anaheim Angels play baseball, I think against the Red Sox. It was kind of cloudy and drizzly out that way, so hopefully the weather got better today. Swansea Searcher tuned in over on YouTube. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Oh, that's right, Susan. Yes, I was working on your trip yesterday. You're the one that emailed about it. Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh. If we don't trade Steven Matz, the Cardinals, this guy's giving up batting practice. It's now 4-0 in the first inning. Let's try to keep it to 1 question a call so we can get more people in. I just like to hear from a few different people. That'd be great. I think it'd make it more exciting for all the listeners on Monday. Yeah, I think if they do take the tax write-off, I think it's a goner. I think they have to probably plow it down, which I think they're going to do. Looking like New Hampshire in the house tonight. No, let's just call him once, Alfred. Once per show would be great. So just make it 1 quality call. Let's go with 1 quality call. I forgot how to turn off the music. Got all these toys. There it is. Okay, let us do a podcast. All right, so this is going to be for Monday, for Memorial Day, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. This could be a train wreck, but okay, let me get this set up. There. I tested that. That should work. All right. Let's try this. Let me mute my phone. Get a sip of Coke Zero. Well, hello, Diane. Long time no see. Betsy, I mean, I can't help it. I got a master's degree in elementary education, even though I can't speak, apparently. So, yes, quality questions lead to quality answers, lead to quality research. I taught 2nd grade for a long time, and they would ask a bajillion questions. So I had to thwart them because they would ask questions all day, and I would be so exhausted. Like, look, Mr. Rallman is tired. 1 question per hour, unless it is super important, unless it's like the question that will change the history of life. Then you can ask a 2nd question this hour. But other than that, 1 question, so make it a good one. Think about it, because this is it. Don't ask if you can use the restroom. If it's an emergency, that's it. That was my life as a 2nd grade teacher. Whew, that's the longest year of my life. I was glad when I went to 6th grade after that, because at least you could barter with 6th graders. okay, look, if we do this, extra recess this afternoon. And that worked. That worked. Second graders, they don't care about this afternoon. That may as well be 10 years down the line to second graders. They don't care. So, yeah, sixth grade was better. Silent reading this time of year. Let's watch a movie. Okay, here, let's do a podcast. So again, ask comments. You can ask questions in the comments. We'll answer those here. I'll do my best to answer those. But we'll also take calls on the phone line, and we'll do video calls as we did on Sunday night. Ooh, but let's have questions on the calls, please. Questions only, not like a Sunday night. Sunday night, we kind of just shoot the bull. Let's make this a question show. We're going to see if we can focus these kind of shows on questions. I'll see if we can do that. All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 2294 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you and happy Memorial Day here in the United States of America. And please do take some time today, and I hope you did over this past weekend, to pause for a few moments and think about those folks who have given the ultimate sacrifice so that our country can be as great as it is. Those folks who have fought in the wars and conflicts over the past and given the ultimate sacrifice so that we can have a wonderful way of life and live in a great country. And we pause and thank you for all that, they have done for our country. And again, pray and think about all those folks who continue to serve. We appreciate each and everything that you do and for the sacrifices of the military families as well. We appreciate you so very much. Today, we're going to have a good show to keep your Memorial Day weekend rolling right along. I know a lot of folks are probably hitting the pools for the first time, maybe doing some grilling, getting those hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. And if you're like me, hopefully, maybe playing a little wiffle ball in the backyard. That's an American tradition. Remember, you got to set up the lawn chair. That's your strike zone. That's how you got to play this. But either way, we hope you take the Be Our Guest podcast with you. So on a Memorial Day, on a holiday here in the United States, and if you're listening in, I don't know, Scotland, like Julie or Melissa down in Australia, Sandra down in Australia, Masayo in Japan, you guys are like, whatever, it's just Monday or Tuesday. Bear with us. It's the unofficial start to summer here in the States. We're going to have a little bit of a different show. We had a last minute cancellation. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to answer some listener questions, and we're going to take some listener questions live over the phones at 407-413-9395. So again, that's 407-413-9395. So instead of just reading the questions, we're going to open up the phone lines. It's just me here today to answer those questions. So if you have a question, do give me a call, as we're live here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And we'll talk through your question. We'll answer it. If you have a trip planning dilemma, a trip planning question, we'll talk about that. And in just a second, we'll have so the phone lines are now open, and we'll also have a chance to get in on the show with our video chat feature, which I have posted the link in our comments for all of our chats. And so if you see that, you just click on that. You'll be in the waiting room. And then when it's your turn, I'll add you to the call and we'll have the question asked right there and we'll answer it. So let's get to our first call of the day. It looks like we have one rolling in. I love this already. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike, it's Swansea Searcher, Brandon from New Hampshire.
Brandon, I knew I could count on you. How you doing? Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, you as well, buddy. Looking forward to a long weekend off and doing a lot of things on the smoker and doing some ribs and a brisket.
Man, invite me up to New Hampshire, man. It sounds like you guys do it right up in the Northeast.
Yeah, we have an outdoor kitchen, so I'm big into the smoked meats. We went back to Texas 15 years ago, came back after eating the best barbecue in my life, and there's nothing like it around here, so I had to learn how to do it.
Sounds good. I'll probably just do cheddar hot dogs or some bratwurst on the grill, but hey, not bad. We'll do whatever we can.
Nothing wrong with that. A cheeseburger, a hot dog, or even better yet, the old smash burger. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you got that right. I mean, just sit on the deck, enjoy the family, and have some good barbecue. No matter what it is, it's a day off, so we got to enjoy it.
Absolutely, brother. So I have a quick question for you. This is based on listening to Jim Hill with Len Testa on a show that they did last week. One of their customers or clients asked about why not turn the Star Cruiser into, of all things, I'm a Muppets nerd, pigs in space.
I know. I heard that too because I listened to those guys as well on the treadmill on Monday morning, Schmurz morning, I guess you could say.
Schmurz Day, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I never know what day of the week it is other than Schmurz Day when I'm on the old
But don't
treadmill.
you think that would hit more people thematically wise versus something as conservative or inclusive as Star Wars? I mean, wouldn't that be a broader base going back to the 70s for a lot of people?
Okay, here's the thing. I don't disagree with you, but let me just ask you like more broadly with that question. Do you think the Muppet fandom is larger than the Star Wars fandom? Because I would think Star Wars would have a bigger fandom than Muppets in general. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I would say if they did it thematically based on the first movies that we saw in the 70s from Star Wars, then yes. I would say that they're the generation that's willing to pay the money to go and see Luke Skywalker and Leia and Darth Vader and all them. Yes. But the generations after that, no. I would say that there are more people that have been inclusive with the Muppets over their last 45 years. I think that they have a better shot at it. I'm not saying the same price point, but I'm saying thematically wise, I think that would have been, I'm not saying that would have been the original option. I'm saying that's a transition that they could have gone into with the space that's there. Let's put it that way.
I like where you're going with this. And I did hear people kind of joke about this initially right off the bat when the announcement was made on Twitter. Of course, people always have off the cuff comments. And I thought, you couldn't do it the exact same way. I mean, Muppets are even harder to pull off than the characters, with in the Star Wars fandom, because I mean, just because they're Muppets, right? I mean, just
well, you have to have puppeteers.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's like if you've ever done Muppet Vision 3D, like Sweetums, they would all be like that big. That'd be wild. Like, I mean, you couldn't have a 6-foot Kermit walking around. That'd be wild. That'd be freaky.
That would be the freakiest meet and greet you could ever find in your life.
Or really, I mean, it would take a lot more effort to pull that off than even Star Cruiser did. And I mean, think about it. Those actors had to spend the night. They had to have doubles. There's a lot to that. But I've been thinking about that. I've been reflecting on this a lot as to why personally, because, I can only reflect on like what I thought about it. One, it was expensive. I couldn't have, I'd rather go on a regular cruise for that amount of money for like a week, just on like the fantasy
Absolutely.
or the dream. That's just me. Cause I love seeing the ocean. And I love Star Wars. I mean, I love the other you mentioned. I would rather see the original 3 movie characters. I'd rather see Han, Leia, Luke, Lando, Chewie. That would be my jam. But here's the other thing. I've thought about this too. When I've gone to experiences that are kind of similar to this, and you've probably seen this at different things in life, especially at places like Walt Disney World, where you have a specific fandom. Like I've gone to, say, one time I went to like a meet and greet for this podcaster that I liked. This was like years and years ago. I mean, this was probably 20 years ago at a Comp USA. That's how long it was. He was passing through town. This was Leo Laporte, who I talk about a lot on Mike in the Midwest. I model what we do on our podcast network after what he does with his network. And this was before he really started all that. He was on cable TV at the time. And the thing is, with experiences like this, you're paying all this money to have all these like one-on-one and these real highly personal interactions. But if you're even in a group of like 5 or 6 within a pack, it seems like there's always going to be somebody in that group that is the most aggressively, like person, the most aggressive person within the group that's going to want to get that attention from the character, and that's not me. Like I want to have the experience, but I'm not going to be the one that's like right on top of the actor or actress or the character. I want it to come to me, but if I'm paying $5,000 or $6,000, I don't want to miss out on the experience, but I'm always worried that somebody's going to be more aggressively seeking the experience than I am. And so then maybe I'm not getting the full experience because somebody's going after it a little bit more than I am going after it. And maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe the actors are aware of that, but I just wonder if, because it's kind of like when you're at Walt Disney World, there's like, some aggressive vlogger. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to have a great experience, but some of these people have no problems jumping right in front of you and don't care if you have, a good view or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I've always worried about it. I wonder if that's a thing on the Star Cruiser.
Well, and that's a great question. And as well as like Len Testa, he went full LARPing to do this experience. I am not that person that can put myself out there and make up a storyline. And I'd rather see a show. I'd rather be part of the experience. I'd rather see these characters. I don't think for that $5,000 to $6,000 price range, I would feel comfortable in my own skin. That's just the way I'm an introvert. I am not going to be that person that's going to make up a backstory like Len did, and I'm not going to be in a character. I want to experience it, but if you don't for that amount of money, you're not getting the fullest thing out of it. I mean, Len went all through Galaxy's Edge and had to do all these tasks just to get to that end product with Yoda. To me, I don't want to go at it that hard if I'm spending that kind of money. I feel like I'd be losing something in the experience.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You know, I feel like the whole thing is, you know, it's such a quick experience for such a premium price that you really can't afford to say, I'm going to sit back and kind of let it come to me. Because if you sit back and let it come to you for 3 or 4 hours, by the time you price out the experience, like price per hour, you know, you could have, you know, possibly lost hundreds of dollars in the experience if you think, and you can't think about things in that terms, but you can. And like you said, I love Len because that's his personality. And like, I've loved experiencing it through him, you know, like Hank Lonely and the whole story. Like that stuff is hilarious. Like the pictures of, you know, his
fantastic. His whole backstory behind that was absolutely amazing. Every person who talked to him, he kept in character, which is fantastic. But to me, I'm looking at this as, okay, if this is a 50-hour experience, this is $100 an hour.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's me, you know what I'm saying? And you're sleeping for some of that. I mean, you have
exactly. So yeah, I mean, I can understand wanting to get the most out of it. And I love Len's character and his personality. And I wish I had that extrovert personality. But if I'm going to spend the $5,000 with my own personality and maybe yourself as well, I just want to be entertained for 2 days. I want to see something happen over 2 days and not have to necessarily be part of it. But it's got to be epic, like you said, like a cruise where you've got 2 or 3 days on a cruise or a 7-day cruise for the same price. There's so much opportunity to do other things. You would just have to be such a diehard fan to get into this for a 2-day experience.
What I would like to see happen, you know, the more I've thought about this, is that it becomes, and we had, you know, we've had a few shows about this since this has happened now, and a lot of people call them with great ideas. Our listeners are so smart about these kind of things. Is that now it becomes, hopefully, and with this tax write-off thing, I mean, I think if they do that, it does have to sit kind of, you know, if you're taking the tax write-off, you can't start using it again because then it's like you're double dipping. And I don't know. I'm not that smart with tax. I know nothing about taxes. My sister-in-law is a corporate tax person, so I should ask her. But she's actually going to Disneyland this weekend, so she's off. So I'm not going to ask her. But here's the thing, though. Like, I hope that it turns into something smaller, but with more mass accessibility for just fans that want to get in there and see it. You know what I'm saying? Like the common Joe. Like make it where you could go in, and I don't know what you do with all those hotel rooms, but there's not that many hotel rooms. I mean, 100 hotel rooms is a lot, but it's not like Pop Century with like 2,000 hotel rooms. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like,
and they're not real hotel rooms.
Yeah, they're small little pods.
Windows. You don't have a pool. You don't have, you know what I mean? You don't have access. I think they should just make it an extension of Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, because, and the thing is, like, I went to a media event in Galaxy's Edge a few years back, and there's a little secret exit right by the Millennium Falcon, right by Smuggler's Run that we went out. Like, I didn't even know it was there. Like, there's like a secret door. I memean, it's hidden there, like right in the wall. You can't see it. Like they pushed a button. It was like in Star Wars movie. I'm not kidding. They pushed a button, like the wall moved, and I was like, I didn't know there was a door there. And then right on the other side, there was a tour bus, you know, to take us back to our hotel. Like we were backstage. I was like, holy cow, I didn't know that was there. So what they could do right there is, you know, that cargo van thing or whatever, take you right over to the hotel. But, you know, they could do dinner and a cocktail, you know, and you could go to the bar, you could go play sabacc or whatever that game is, or go to a dinner, you know, and just tour the place for 4 or 5 hours. You know, somebody mentioned a second place to build a lightsaber. I mean, money. And instead of it being $5,000, maybe the common man spends, $750 for a 5-hour experience. It becomes like a really nice Star Wars tour. I'd go for
Absolutely.
that.
Make it a dinner and a show or an experience or build a droid, build a lightsaber experience, make that an extension, let people go do it for a few hours or whatever. But I think what you just said with the tax thing, I think either that it's going to have to sit dormant for what it looks like a minimum of 18 months, or they're going to tear it down, which is going to be an absolute crying shame knowing what they spent on the property to do it versus what they made money on during the whatever it is total when they're done. What about an 18-month experience?
Yeah. I mean, and just like Diane says, I mean, she's right. I mean, make it like a hoop-de-doo in space. You know what I'm saying? It's like dinner and a show,
Right.
and you throw on the lightsaber for like a premium upgrade, and then you have all your merch. People are there. And I mean, it's just like when I'm on the cruise ships, right? I'm a captive audience. Like, well, I'm not really a merch guy, but when I'm on the cruise ships, I'm like, well, I'm here. I need that hoodie.
Gotta have
And
it.
I need that captain's hat. I don't need a captain's hat. I live in Missouri. When do I wear a captain? Well, I need it now. I'm on the ship. People would buy that stuff
I
like
walk into
crazy.
Memento Mori's and I have to buy something every time I walk in there because I'm a haunted mansion guy. So I don't need this stupid mat that sits under my dog's water and food bowl that says "Feed me, foolish mortals," but I still buy it.
Exactly. It's like, when am I going to be back in space? I gotta have this, I don't know, Jedi robe. Like, you don't need a Jedi robe. You are not a Jedi. Yes, I am.
It's going to hang in your closet for years to come. And you're going to say, I bought that because I needed it at the time. And then down the road, you're like, why the heck did I buy this?
No, I agree. But it would be a crying shame if it does get knocked down. I don't understand how all the laws and logistics of tax law and all the, taking something for a tax loss. I don't know how that stuff works, but I just know that in practicality, they built something cool and they put themselves out there. And I give them so much credit for that. This is a really themed experience. This is really, really cool. It didn't hit it for me, but it hit it for the people that went, loved it. I know a lot of people loved it. The characters, people that did it did a good job. I don't think it was a failure. I think it was a learning experience.
Yeah, one of my customers is a huge diehard Disney fan and also a Star Wars fan. And him and his wife and his kids went down. They did it. They did it once. And the same thing. They said that they had a blast. It was an unforgettable experience. But at the same time, Brian says, when I asked him, he goes, no, I wouldn't do it again unless they changed up the routine. You'd have to put in
Right.
a different sequence. I don't want to do the same thing over and over again, not for that price range. Whereas you can walk into Galaxy's Edge and having a different experience every time you visit the parks. I know those aren't apples and apples. They're more so apples and oranges, but still, this is a Star Wars nerd. I mean, you could ask this guy anything about Star Wars, and he goes, no, it was a one and done experience. So now you've done that for 12 months. And I think Disney realized the same thing, that the repeatability wasn't there. There's no chance you could possibly get people to keep coming back over and over again versus me coming back to Disney twice a year and you being in Disney and you're doing the run events and anybody else coming down for whatever reason. We're going to keep going back because every time you're there, it's a different experience.
Right. The closest you just brought up, the last thing here, that I was thinking of is that, I spent a couple of summers teaching down at Space Camp USA in Huntsville, Alabama, and I taught teachers every week coming through for professional development. So we only did it over the summer because teachers could come down over the summer for a week and they would get college credit is for professional development. We taught them how to integrate space science into their curriculum. And the thing is, even at Space Camp, they had different courses like you could do. So you did Space Camp for Educators, and there was Advanced Space Camp for Educators. So you could come down and do the first one, but if you wanted to come back, you got a whole different shuttle mission, simulated shuttle mission in Advanced Camp. And Advanced Camp, you did a scuba dive. Like your EVA on this advanced mission was in the scuba tank. I mean, it wasn't just like on the floor of the center. No. In Advanced Camp, you actually were 35 feet below the surface of the water when you were building the thing. I mean, that's what it was, right? You got to go and have a similar but more challenging and a different experience because you knew you liked it, but everything was a little bit different and it was a lot more fun. And everybody came back and raved. So that, that was one of the things. They didn't get a chance. I don't think they had enough time to really get to, plan B yet, but they would have had to have done that, I think, eventually.
Absolutely. Change the storyline over and over again. I think the character, like you said, the first 3 movies that we know of versus 3 versus 6, they would have had to have changed that whole plot and what the missions were and stuff like that. They didn't have enough time to develop that. But I tell you that I will give Disney credit. They swung for the fences.
100%.
They got a double. And I think that's the best we can possibly say out of the whole situation.
No, do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, take the big rip again.
Absolutely. Don't give up on it.
Don't get conservative. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, take it, learn from it, and don't go back in a hole. Because I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
I took too much of your time.
No, anytime, Brandon. I always love hearing from you. And you guys have a safe and a great holiday weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right, take care, brother. Talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.
Yep, bye.
All right, 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395, or you can jump in the video chat, which I have just posted the link again in the comments for the chat. We have Alfred on the line. Alfred, hey, thanks for joining us. What's going on?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you been?
Still healing from my surgery.
I'm glad you're on the mend. It's a better way to be.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So now I don't feel bad with my 2 simple questions.
Okay.
They're quality but simple.
That's good. Let's go for it.
First one is, what is the average cost for a balcony view on a cruise?
It depends. That could be anything. It depends what time of year, depends where it's going, depends what ship.
Okay. What if it was the Wish, I don't know, off season?
So the Wish is okay. Yeah. So the Wish is sailing 3 and 4 night Bahamian cruises. Off season would be
4 night.
Yep. Look at like a 4 night. So I'm guessing. So off season would be like September. You could probably do a single would probably be about $3,000. Just ballparking it. In that range is probably where a veranda would start.
And that's with a balcony, right?
Yes, that'd be with a veranda. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how far in advance do you need to book that?
Well, the further
like with their podcast cruise, I lost out.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know it would sell out.
The problem with the podcast cruise, it was over holiday weekend, so that thing went kind of quick because it's 4th of July and it's summer, and that's a super high peak time to sail because everybody's out of school.
Yeah.
The sooner you book, the cheaper the price is going to be because as soon as it's supply and demand, so as the ship fills, the prices go up on all the staterooms within the ship itself. So you want to book as soon as you can because you'll get the lowest price. You're locked in at that point. So the price is always cheapest.
So the further out also gives you more time to pay it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons. There's a whole bunch of reasons to book a cruise early. 1, you're going to get the lowest price when you book early. 2, you're going to have the best availability of staterooms because remember, some people, I've sailed a bunch of times, so it really doesn't matter for me. But a lot of people like specific like decks, or they want to be on the starboard side or the port side. Like if you're going to Castaway Key. You probably want to be on the starboard side because when the ships are docked, it's at Castaway Key. If you're on the starboard side, your veranda looks out over Castaway Key rather than looking out on the other side.
Ooh, okay.
So that's something to think about.
Got it.
And also there was a third thing. There's like a few things, but your cost is going to be, the lowest if you book early.
Yeah. Okay. And then you can do payments, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So you just pay the deposit's going to be 20%. Then you can just pay over time. Yep. A lot of my guests have been doing that.
Yeah. So 20% deposit and then monthly after that, right?
Yep. Or monthly, bi-monthly. Some people do. Just depends. Some people do quarterly. Just a lot of people just email me, hey Mike.
So really you could set up your payment plan.
Yeah. People just email me and say, you don't want to pay this much. And I just call it in and that's how we take care of it.
Well, that sounds good. I didn't realize how easy it would really be.
Cruising is easy peasy. I get to check in for my cruise tomorrow night. I can't wait. I can't wait to be back on a cruise ship. So much easier than Walt Disney World.
I've never been on a cruise.
Oh man, it's like it's all the good parts of a Walt Disney World. It's great. It's like, here's what I tell people about it, especially a Disney cruise. It's like staying at a deluxe hotel at Walt Disney World. It's like eating at signature restaurants and seeing
and getting fat.
but don't say that. That's why I go on the treadmill every morning. Or, well, see, on the I usually run on the track, but the Wish apparently, and I haven't been on the Wish yet. So, but apparently the track doesn't go all the way around on the Wish. So I'm going to be on the treadmill, which is fine because that's what I do here at the house. And also amazing entertainment. And beyond that, you get to be out in the ocean. Like for me, I never, ever, ever get to see the ocean. I'm in Missouri. The only water I get to see is the dirty water in the Missouri River, which I love the Missouri River because I live right next to it, but it's brown. It's not pretty. When I see the ocean, it takes my breath away. It's gorgeous. I can't wait.
Yeah. And I get to see the dirty water off of New Jersey.
I've heard about it. I've never seen it. I've never been up that way, but I've always heard that.
Sounds just as bad as yours.
You always hear about that like in movies and TV shows, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I still go to the beach.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I like to read my book, to listen to music,
but
never in the water.
Well, I mean, we don't go down to the Missouri River to do much. I mean, we just drive across it on a bridge. That's about it. That's it.
Oh my goodness. I want to add a comment to the Star.
Yeah, go ahead.
Star Wars. I think them shutting it down was a huge mistake. Will be shutting it down. I feel that they should have revised it right away. Okay, and said, okay, we're closing September 28th, but we'll be reopening with a new adventure come January 1st. Whatever. They can make up a timeline. And what I would have done was keep the idea of the entertainment model, but cut the price for the 2 days. Cut it down to $1,500 total.
Yeah, see, I don't think they were willing to cut the price.
You buy your own food, you buy your own alcohol or drinks, whatever. So it becomes $750 per night, which people will find a little easier to swallow, to say, and people would come back. I think that was the mistake.
I mean, that's definitely something to think about. I think they wanted to make it like a cruise experience. That's why it was called the Galactic Star Cruiser. And that is one of the great things about being on a cruise is how all inclusive it is.
Everything's included.
That is, seriously, I mean,
but they can't charge $5,000.
No, well,
no one's going to do it.
Right. But I mean, you're right. I mean, they found that out, but it is it has to be a very expensive proposition to run though, because think about it, those actors and the people who play those roles, and there's a lot of them in that experience. Think about it. They have to be there. They have to sleep there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a 24/7 experience. And from what I've been told, they have doubles. You know what I'm saying? They have not every probably role, but I'm sure there's people that play 2 or 3 roles, just in case, understudies. So
understudy.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's almost like a show, right? The people have to be backups, and I mean, and the food the food's all weird. I mean, the food's the shrimp's blue, and I mean, I don't know if it's any more expensive to make shrimp blue. I have no idea, but you can't go buy that down at Publix. I don't know.
Right.
But you're right; it's too expensive.
Well,
that was a problem.
If it's really not feasible for them, then what I would do, and I've heard this before from others, I think in the podcast, a dining venue.
Yeah.
Do a character dining.
Yeah, that would
Same
be cool.
idea.
Yeah, because you could also have a bar there, and you could have a shop. You could have a build your lightsaber in a merchandise store.
On your way out, have them shop. Yeah,
totally. No, I get it. And then it'd be more accessible for the common man just to go over there and check it out. And you could also still make bank, because I mean, that could be your most expensive character meal ever, and it could be like Oga's Cantina on steroids. You know what I'm saying? You could have a cover charge.
$100 a person.
Yeah, it could have a $50 cover charge, and the drinks could be twice as much. Yeah, I know.
I guarantee you that they will pay for a character meal at $100 a person.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
They're paying it at Space 220, and all they're getting is an elevator.
Yeah, I know. No, you got good ideas.
So make it a Star Wars character meal.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Sometimes I think Disney misses out on things.
Well, they have reasons, but they also have reasons that we don't think about because they're looking at it from a purely business perspective. They're looking at it from shareholder, perspective, financials, and
but maybe they should look at it according to the guest.
I mean that because we're guests. I wish. I mean that would be my that'd be my would I wish too.
Yeah,
but they have to look at it from both sides.
Yeah, look at their stock. They're doing something wrong. So maybe they need to change things up.
Yeah.
Take it to the guests, get ideas, do surveys, asking what would they like this building to be.
We'll see, but
maybe that would change things.
Like Brandon says here in the chat, and this is true. The reason it's closing on September 28th is because financial year ends at the end of September. October 1st is the new fiscal year.
1st, right.
So they want to write the sucker off and be done with it before the new fiscal year starts.
Exactly.
So that's what it is. It's all financial.
That's what it is. But I'm sure they can reopen it as something else.
We'll see. I hope, but it's got.
They
will
don't
have to
keep it in a hotel. They can open it as a restaurant.
It's a funky little building. It's weird looking. So, yeah. I mean, it really ain't going to be a hotel.
Now, how much is it? How much is that for one person?
What do you mean? How much is what?
The Star Cruiser.
How much does it cost to go there?
Yeah.
I want to say it was like $5 or $6 grand for the 2-night, 3-day experience.
Per person?
I think it was per couple.
Per person?
I think it was a couple. I didn't book it. I gave it to other agents. It was a lot of work to book.
Yeah.
I passed that on to Ben, my colleague.
You did.
Yeah. I personally did not. I did not book Star Cruiser myself. Yeah. I did not book it.
Yeah. For double.
I'm not even sure. I didn't book it. I was too busy booking everybody else with regular trips because it took a lot of time.
Right.
I would give that to the other agents.
A single, it would be $2,500.
I don't know what it was because I didn't book it. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was what it was because I didn't book it.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, I got to run because I got a couple of questions in the chat I want to get to. We're going to get rolling, but have a good Memorial Day weekend.
Excellent.
And you keep healing. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thank you. You too.
All right. See you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Alfred up in New York. And if you want to call 407-413-9395, 413-9395. Diane's got a great comment in the chat. They should alternate between Star Wars and Marvel dining experiences. So you'd have Darth Vader and then you'd have Iron Man come in and then they could battle and you'd have the collision of the, what are those universes? Did they call them cinematic universes? I don't know. That'd be cool though. That'd be sweet. Kathy in the live chat says, question, thinking of visiting Disneyland in 2024. We're thinking about either February or April school vacation week, leaning towards April because we're afraid the weather might still be too cold in February. Thoughts? And do you think crowd levels are impacted during vacation weeks as much as in Walt Disney World? So here's the thing. I think that at Disneyland, yes, the locals come out way more than at Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World's more of like a constant. At Disneyland, I noticed, especially like when the weekend hit, when I was out there, both times I've been out there, like Friday at 3:00, like the crowds descend on the parks. It is wild. During the week, it was totally manageable. Both times I was out there. But man, as soon as Friday afternoon hit, all the locals came out. I mean, I guess they were getting dinner and they were getting ready to ride some rides and see some shows and have fun at Disneyland, which is how it should be. I mean, heck, if I lived in Southern California, that's where I'd be on the weekends. I mean, no doubt about it. February or April, I think the weather would be pretty similar. I mean, I was out there in March this past year and the weather was pretty nice. It was actually gorgeous. I was there at the last week of March and the weather was beautiful. So February maybe a little chilly, but it warms up in the afternoons. April, obviously April is going to give you the warmer of the two, but I think either way you're going to be fine. But yeah, probably April will give you the better weather is what I would say. All right, we have a question here in the inbox I was trying to get to earlier, but didn't get to it. So again, if you want to give us a call, 407-413-9395, and I'll put the video chat link one more time here in the comments. If you want to join via video, we can try that one more time. If not, no worries. Here's a question from Natalie. She says, my son and I are traveling to Orlando for his national volleyball tournament in late June, early July. And I'll be staying off property near the Orange County Convention Center. Is that going to stop me from being near the Magic Kingdom to see an epic fireworks show on July 3rd? No, it is not. We won't have tickets to enter the parks on July 3rd, but we're hoping to watch the show from outside the Magic Kingdom. What recommendation do you have for fireworks viewing outside of the park? We probably can't swing the California Grill due to the cost, so I would love some more affordable options to consider. Thanks so much. And a big Texas hello to Pam, Ricky, and Scott. Natalie. Well, howdy down in Texas. And by the way, shout out to 2 big listeners down in Texas coming up in just a second. So what I would do, the trick is you got to get to the Seven Seas Lagoon somehow, or Wilderness Lodge. So I would try to make an ADR any way you can for a place like, here's where you're looking for. You're looking to make an ADR for a place like Whispering Canyon Cafe for dinner. Grand Floridian Cafe is one you might still be able to get for July 3rd. Yeah, look at Geyser Point. Diane is right with me. Diane and I are like, we're on the same wavelength tonight. I mean, Diane should be sitting next to me here in the studio. We are so on the same wavelength. We have been for the last 40 minutes of this podcast. As I say something, she puts it in the chat. It's amazing. It's like we're sharing one brain tonight, Diane. Thank you. Yeah, I would say places like Ohana, that's going to be booked up at this point. Maybe a Steakhouse 71. The thing is, everybody in the world's going to try to get into that loop for the 4th of July fireworks, and even on July 3rd, because they're all the same fireworks on July 3rd at the Magic Kingdom. This is not an unknown trick at this point. Back in 1997, not a whole lot of people knew about doing this. 2023, everybody and their brother is going to try to get in there. So you're going to have to be a little creative. So look at Steakhouse 71, look at Geyser Point, look at Wilderness Lodge, look at Grand Californian Cafe or Grand Floridian Cafe. I can't even think right now. You're going to have to think outside the box at one of those hotels so that you can get in there and get an ADR to get your car in there. And then once you get your car in there, and also you're going to have dinner there. I mean, those are great places to eat. Come on now. I would eat with you, except I'll be on the Wish that night. But what you're going to want to do though, is hopefully you probably won't have much of a choice for the time to get your dinner. But then once you're in, you can either watch it from the Grand Floridian Beach. That's a great place to watch fireworks. Polynesian Beach, if you get something over there, like at Kona. But if you're at Wilderness Lodge, you could take a boat launch over to any of those other places, get over to the Polynesian or the Grand Floridian, and just use the boats and make yourself around, get on the monorail loop or whatever and make your way around to get a good spot too. And Scott says, you could do lunch or breakfast. It depends. I don't know how the volleyball tournament's going to go though. Like you probably have games, but yeah, you got to get in there somehow. And those guards, it's going to be like getting through the Berlin Wall that day. So you got to have a confirmed ADR. You are not talking your way in because you're going to I'm going to do some shopping. They're like, no, you're not. You're turning your car around is what you're doing. So I'm just saying, but that's a great idea and it's going to be worth it, but I would secure an ADR. So, and Brandon also says here, let's hit this, says, if you want to see the fireworks, do the ADR, get to the resort, ignore the dining reservation. See, you could do that and pay the $10 penalty, but by not showing up, but I wouldn't do that because the thing is, like, if you get the ADR in July, go and have the meal, especially if you get, because I mean, the thing is, if you get the ADR for one of these places, if you get one of these ADRs on the monorail loop, you're going to have a good one. You're talking either Geyser Point, Grand Floridian Cafe, Kona, because you're not getting Ohana at this point, like I said. Whispering, I mean, come on now. These are all good places to eat, and they're great ADRs. Don't skip it. Oh, man, please don't skip it. Also, while I'm thinking about it, before we jump out of here today, I got to send a huge shout out to some special listeners that are also down in Texas. And I'm also their personal travel agent. I got to tell you this because I was told by a little birdie here in the studios of the Be Our Guest podcast and at the Magic for Less Travel that especially this gentleman, his name is Cyrus. and he has a sister named Hope. So Cyrus and Hope, listen up. I am your personal travel agent. Now, it is true that I do book travel for one or two other guests. And I know I heard that you were disappointed because you thought I only booked travel for your family. And while that is not 100% true, you guys are always first in my heart. So just know that I take care of your travel, and that's what we do. But I just wanted to let Cyrus and Hope down in Texas know that I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. And I love that you guys get to go to Walt Disney World and all the Disney destinations with your family. And I hope you're getting ready for an awesome summer down in Texas. All right, let's see here if we have one more question. And we do. So here we go. It says, it's from Kelly. Somehow convinced my husband to take a short trip down to Disney with our 18-month-old for Father's Day weekend. Yeah, that's going to be fun. We'll be staying 3 nights at Pop. My husband and I are going to Ohana on our first night, which will be a Friday. And my dad will be watching our son. We would like to visit Trader Sam's while we're at the Polynesian. Our reservation is at 7:50 p.m. at Ohana. Wait, when are they going? Okay, I just want to make sure they weren't going on July 3rd because I'm like, okay, we need to have, we need to make a connection here so they can get in. Nope, didn't work. They're going to be there for Father's Day. She says, any suggestions on when to get in the virtual queue? Before dinner, run down during dinner, or wait until after dinner? Thanks so much for all you do. Okay, so let's think about this. This is where I need the chat room real quick. This is the last question of the night. So they have an ADR for $750 for for Ohana, but they want to go to Trader Sam's after dinner. When would you get in the virtual queue? On a Friday night, Father's Day weekend. So I'm going to say that's mid-June. Again, I don't go to many bars or lounges. I would personally say to jump into that virtual queue probably right before you go into Ohana, maybe around 7:15, maybe as you arrive at Ohana. Diane is also saying before, because it's going to be hopping, especially by that time of night. I mean, because by 7:00, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to go to Trader Sam's. People are going to be jumping out of the Magic Kingdom, coming back to the resort. They're going to want to have a tiki drink, and it's going to be June. They're going to want some air conditioning and to enjoy the stuff that that Trader Sam's has to offer. Brandon says, let's say you better virtual queue when you get there. Yeah, so I would do this before you go into Ohana. Maybe right as you get to the Polynesian, jump in that virtual queue and take care of that. Let's see here. Betsy says, Captain Cooks and eat at the Poly Beach while you get a Dole Whip. Go early. No, I mean, they got Ohana. You got to go to Ohana. You got to get the noodles and all the good food. Here's the problem with Ohana, besides how expensive it is, but I love Ohana. I have no self-control at that place. When I go to Ohana, I walk out of that place and I am in so much pain. I need more self-control. The food there is so good. I walk out of there and it is just a painful experience for me. Diane says Ohana tends to serve pretty quickly as it's family style, so you can probably eat fairly quickly, but do that at your own risk, I say. And there you go. All right, so here we go. That's going to do it for today's show. I know it was a little bit different, and I apologize. I know it wasn't as fun as a trip report show, but it is the holiday weekend. I didn't want to have to drag anybody out for a trip report show. I want to let everybody enjoy the weekend, but I never want to miss a podcast for you guys. I take pride that we always have a show for you guys Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We've been doing this since 2008, and I really do care. I want to make sure that you guys always have something to listen to that is worthwhile, that you can enjoy. Hopefully you can learn a little bit about, and we can all work together to have better Disney vacations. So hopefully you enjoyed today's show. I know it wasn't the normal podcast. We'll get back to trip reports as soon as possible, but hope you're having a great holiday weekend. So don't forget, our show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. You know the deal. Just swing by themagicforless.com. I'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a special thank you to the patrons of the Be Our Guest Podcast. You make all these shows possible. Thank you so much for your support. You allowed us to upgrade our video streaming services where we can get to more locations. We have better picture quality. We can do a lot more things because of your financial support. You allow us to keep the show on the air, basically. So thank you so much for that. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. So come on over, patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Also, real quick, if you don't mind this week, Apple Podcasts, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a rating and a review, that would be awesome. Those things do tend to kind of expire after a little bit of time. And we've been on the air for over 15 years at this point. So if you wouldn't mind dropping a few kind words and a 5-star review, that would be awesome. It really does help us with discoverability on the store over there. And it'd mean a lot to me. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. If you don't have time, I understand, but that would mean a whole lot to us. All right. Also, we'll have a live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. So join us for that. Scotty G will be on the air with me. We'll be taking your calls again, video and phone. So join us again Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Give me a follow on social media at Be Our Guest Mike. And that's on Instagram and Twitter. I'll talk to you over there. And until we speak again, we'll have a listener question show on Wednesday. So for Ricky, Pam, and Scott, who are not here today, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. That was a lot of fun, and we'll see you later.